Status of women in Buddhism, or Buddhist attitude towards women. A talk given by Venerable K.Dhammananda Thero at the University of Agriculture. There are many things for us to discuss, because there are so many controversies, so many misinterpretations, and many discriminations. Before we try to explain the Buddhist attitude towards women or status of women in Buddhism, we had to discuss the situation, the conditions, environments at that time, more than 2,500 years ago. When you study the world history, in the West or the East, or any part of the world, you cannot find that man has given full freedom to women to do anything. Women were regarded as articles for man to do anything whatever he likes. That was the situation of women at that time. Then, existing religions also have given full support by discriminating women. They were regarded as very unfortunate living beings, not even fully developed human beings. Women were regarded as tempters. That means who tempt man to commit any kinds of evil deeds in this world. When man makes mistake, he blames a woman, saying woman is the cause for this mistake. Man is not ready to accept his mistake, because I am tempted by woman. I have no other choice. So the poor woman gets the blame, but not that culprit who makes the mistake. That is why man is being introduced as Son of God. But there is no place for woman to become the daughter of God. Have you ever heard in any religion that woman is given that position as daughter of God? No. Then they had a belief that women and animals have no soul, only man. That is why they were regarded as very unfortunate living beings. That means women have no chance either to become a saint or to go to heaven. If women want to go to heaven, she or they had to use their husband's passport. They had no individual passport. That means for everything, woman had to depend on man or husband. the more she becomes obedient and the more she serves husband. Whether the husband is good or bad, wicked or cruel, it is immaterial. She had no other choice. Must serve her husband. Otherwise, no salvation for her. They were regarded as the source of all the sins in this world. Woman is the gate to hell, recorded in their religious books. Woman opened the gate for man to go to hell. Women were not allowed to read any holy books, religious books, strictly prohibited. This was the situation 2,500 years ago, not only in India, in many parts of the world. If they want to attend any religious services, or if they want to perform any religious service, or if they want to pray, they can do this kind of services at home. Women were not allowed to enter any place of worship, even today. There are certain places in India and some other countries that women are not allowed, because they regard women as very impure. They pollute the sacredness or the purity of place of worship. So they were not allowed. Today, you can see certain religious authorities have given this privilege to women to enter into their places of worship to go and pray. They have started this only, I think, during the 20th century, not earlier. Even then, they have no chance to mix up with males. They have to sit down, separate. Division is there. The woman cannot mix up with men. They are in that place of worship. And at the beginning, they were allowed to attend those services of prayer if they agreed to cover their faces. Even today, in certain places of worship, you can see they must cover their faces and separate from men, attend the services. So I am telling you all these things, how other religions have discriminated, disregarded a woman's life without giving full freedom even to practice their religion. No doubt, the Buddha has pointed out certain human weaknesses in women. It is true. When you read Tripitaka or Buddhist book, you can see certain caustic comments regarding their way of life, their mentality, their behavior, their moods, their attitudes. But many of these remarks or the comments were based on psychological feeling, intrinsic psychological feeling, but not discrimination, but natural. For that, we cannot blame either the Buddha or any other Buddhist authorities. Of course, in Buddhism, there are no Buddhist authorities to introduce religious law. They have never changed the basic teachings of the Buddha, and they have never enforced any religious law. They try to follow the basic teachings of the Buddha. However, the Buddha has rejected the belief that many people maintain that women cannot attain sainthood, because he has paved the path. Formerly, women never had this opportunity. They were regarded as downtrodden or unfortunate, uneducated, narrow-minded human beings. They were not given proper education. Their duties are to look after husband, to attend to their children, and do housework. In fact, it is mentioned that we have to give more homework for them to do. Otherwise, they commit more things. To protect them, to concentrate on housework, we must give more work. That was the belief. The Buddha had a very big battle. All of you know, he's a very liberal-minded, very understanding, compassionate, enlightened religious teacher. He was accused, criticized by the majority in that country when he wanted to give full freedom for women to practice their religion without any discrimination. In the religious field, no discrimination. Of course, there are differences. They are not discrimination. I'll explain later. Why the Buddha had to take so much of trouble and face so many criticisms? Because there was no such system at that time in any part of the world that women can take an active part in the religious field. The belief was that women are not capable enough. Women are not intelligent. Women are not trustworthy. Their way of thinking is very, very narrow. Therefore, it is difficult for them to take any responsibilities, either to maintain or to practice or to lead a religious way of life. The Buddha knew that attitude is wrong. So he has given full freedom. I'll explain later how he has given this freedom. Wife had to sacrifice her life when her husband died. That is called Sati Puja. Offering, sacrificing her life towards her departed husband. That means when the body is burning, the funeral fire, the wife must go and jump into this burning funeral fire and die. That was the common practice. It is true. Because when husband dies, whether that woman is young or old, makes no difference. She never gets the chance to get married. And she cannot use any jewelry, ornaments, decorations, beautiful dress, as long as she lives. His husband is dead and gone. And she cannot enjoy her worldly or sensual life anymore. So it is better for her to die. So they do this willingly. In fact, British government during the British occupation, they had to enforce a new law to stop this. Even today, occasionally, in certain remote areas, we can see some incidents. Suddenly, the wife jump into the funeral and die. That is their custom. Now that was the situation of women folk at that time. That feeling, but still they maintain. In the Buddha's discourses, he points out that woman is not inferior to man. This you can find very clearly in Sigalovada and various other discourses. He has advised the husband not to regard his wife as a servant. Respect and regard his wife as a friend. Provide all the necessary requisite jewelry, nice dress for her. Not to take advantage of innocent women to use them as their articles, as I mentioned earlier. So that is why he had to mention certain duties that husband had to perform toward his wife. If a wife cannot produce a son, that wife is a very unfortunate wife. Because husband can marry any number of wives until he gets a son. That was the custom. Then the first one or the second one, it could not produce sons. They were regarded as very unfortunate women. Another thing, husband or the man strongly believes that son is the only child who can carry on their family tradition. A daughter cannot. Not only that, son is the only one who can release departed fathers, soul. That means only some can perform certain religious rites and rituals. From the Buddhist point of view, we interpret this as transference of merit. But according to them, it is not transference of merit. Perform certain rites and rituals to relieve their departed father's soul. If there is no son to perform these duties, what will happen? The departed father's soul enter into the ghost world. Therefore, there must be a son. Brahmins, Hindu priests, who have introduced many of these religious laws, are married. They have children. But they never eat anything cooked by a woman. If the food is touched by a woman, a holy Brahmin never eat this food. But all of them are married people. When you study the Buddha's teaching, you can find law of karma. He has introduced and interpreted the law of karma without any discrimination. He says, whether man or woman, human beings or animal, or any other living being, all these living beings are subject to this universal law of karmic energy. So there is no particular restriction or discrimination in this karmic law. Karmic law is unbiased. No one can influence the karmic law either by praying or worshipping or offering. So makes no difference whatsoever whether the person is a man or woman. Karmic effects they have to experience without any discrimination. Because when we analyze the nature of the mind, same ingredients we can find in each and every human mind, whether man or woman. Three main roots of evil: craving, hatred, ignorance, remain in each and every man's mind, whether man or woman, makes no difference. On the other hand, certain good qualities such as kindness or compassion or honesty or understanding also maintain in their mind irrespective of their sex, whether male or female. Now this is the way how Buddha introduced this to show others each and every human being is subject to this universal law of karma. There are three occasions that women are regarded as very unfortunate or impure, not clean. During their monthly period, pregnancy, and childbirth. These three occasions. Traditional belief in various countries, even without any religious belief, is such that during these three occasions, three periods, women should not mingle or associate with the public, should not step into a place of worship. I remember many ladies approached and asked this question, whether they can enter into the temple, whether they can attend any religious services during this period. Now here, the freedom in Buddhism. I do not know what other religions talk about this. We cannot find even one word uttered by the Buddha regarding these three periods. That means full freedom is there. The belief that they maintain is a traditional belief. Nothing to do with religion. On the other hand, scientifically, or according to medical science, or anatomy, when you study carefully, I don't think that there is an extraordinary impurity in a woman, and man is superior to woman regarding this. Because men also suffer from various sicknesses worse than women suffer. Then we had to restrict men also during that period. So all these are beliefs maintained by people when they could not understand the real nature of physical conditions or the anatomy or psychological feeling. They introduce as traditions and customs. Here, one of the important utterances of the Buddha, for you to understand the Buddhist attitude or the Buddha's attitude towards women. You please try to find out whether you can find out such direct statements made by some other religious teachers. What is it? Naso sabbesu thanesu puriso hoti pandita. Itti means three. Itti pi pandita hanti. Tatha vichakana. This you can find even in Dhammapada. Meaning, we should not think that man is the only wise person always. Itti pandita hanti, Stri, also can become pandita, wise, intelligent, on certain occasions, but not always. This is the Buddha's statement. That means we should not consider man is the only wise, or we must ignore, disregard woman's way of thinking or her ideas as inferior to man's way of thinking. Now this is the direct interpretation. You please try to find out whether you can find out such things in any other religion, where these religions also, whether given any due credit to women's way of thinking. Another important occasion, King Kosala, one of the devotees of the Buddha, when he was talking to the Buddha in the monastery, at that time his queen was expecting a baby. He was very anxiously waiting to see a son. One of the ministers came and reported, "Your queen has given birth to a baby girl." Then the Buddha saw that king's face become very sour. Very sour. Then he said, "What a pity. Disappointment." There. Again you can find out the Buddha saying what he said, how he consoled. So that king's face become very sour. Very sour. Then he said, "What a pity. Disappointment." There. Again you can find out the Buddha saying what he said, how he consoled this ruler. He says, this is the direct interpretation of the Pali sentence, no need to recite. Some women are indeed better than men. Bring up a lord of men, that means king. A woman produces a king. There are women who are wise, virtuous, who have high regard for mother or mother-in-law, and who are chaste. That means good character. To such a noble wife may be born a valiant son, very clever, very talented son. A lord of realm, a king who can rule even the whole country or the whole world, who rules a kingdom. This is the way how the Buddha consoled this worried king when he heard that his queen had given birth to a baby girl. And these two things are more than enough for you to understand the Buddha's attitude towards women, how he regarded them, and his understanding about their problems, because he wanted to raise, to bring them up, to pave the way, because there was nobody else to give them helping hand to get up. The Buddha was the only religious teacher in human history, in this world, who has given this freedom to women. So whether they are Buddhist or otherwise, each and every woman must give due credit to the Buddha, because he has opened the gates for them to come forward. But they have shown, they have proven that women are not fools. Formerly they never had the opportunity. Since the Buddha has given this opportunity, they use their common sense, intelligence, devotion, dedication, everything, and shown to others. They are not inferior. I can tell you one incident. a group of monks who wanted to practice meditation in a certain village. When an elderly lady came to know that there are few monks who like to stay there and carry on their meditation, this lady came and promised to look after, to attend to them and provide their requisites, and invited them to remain. Then she also learned from these monks how to practice meditation. After learning from them, she practiced her own meditation at home. And these monks also have not yet attained higher stage. They are also beginners. So all are practicing this meditation. So what happened? This lady has attained the sainthood, not the highest one. Attained sainthood before these monks attained it. So what happened? She has developed that psychic power after gaining this sainthood to understand what others think. Mind reading. When these monks wanted to eat something, to drink something, or to take some medicine, the same day or the next day, this lady come and offer. So this had been going on for some time. Then these monks had thought, how this lady come to know that we wanted to have this? We never told her. Then one day they asked, actually, how did you come to know that you'd like to have this or that? Then she told, after learning meditation from you, I attained that sainthood. I can read, I can understand what others think. Then these monks felt, it's a shame. And this poor lady learned meditation from us. But still we could not gain anything, but she has attained sainthood. After that, they also used their full effort. Later, they too attained sainthood. This incident is more than enough for us to understand that they too can attain the sainthood, their liberation, or salvation, or moksha, or nirvana, or heaven, or whatever it may be, no difference whatsoever, man or woman. So the Buddha is the only teacher who has paved the way for them to show that they are capable enough. Another belief that they maintain that women cannot attain sainthood. Women cannot gain their final salvation or liberation unless they become men. That means the next verse. If women want to attain sainthood or salvation or nirvana, as women they cannot do that. Rebirth must take place as a male, not female. So the Buddha has rejected, refuted this belief, and women have proved that it is wrong. Then you can ask one question. When the Buddha's stepmother, Mahapajapati Gautami, approached the Buddha, requesting his permission to introduce nunnery system. First time, the Buddha has rejected. Second time also she approached, rejected. Third time also approached, rejected. Then, she is also very clever. She got hold of Venerable Ananda, the Buddha's personal attendant, and explained, you please go and tell him, I am the one who looked after him. 7 days after his birth, his mother died. I looked after him as his own mother. I have done everything for him. But I am requesting this permission, but still not granted. Can you please go and talk to him? So, Venerable Ananda, he approached the Buddha and explained. Then he said, all right. Under certain conditions, you can ask this question. If the Buddha has given full freedom for women to practice their religion, why? The Buddha was reluctant to give permission at the beginning. And why he wanted to give this permission under certain circumstances? Answer to this question is this. The common belief in India at that time that women are not capable enough to lead a holy life is very, very strong. So at once, he did not want to revolutionize general feeling. Another important point is for women to understand that this way of life is a very tough, very hard, very difficult life for a woman to carry. It is true. Because the situation of monks' life at that time was not like today. At that time, they had no proper shelter, no proper monasteries for them to stay, and no proper food. Whole day and night they are going here and there, sleeping under the trees or roadsides. They are mendicants. After their renunciation, they move freely. So man can lead this way of life, but not easy for a woman, for their security. And their physical body is not capable enough to stand, to carry on this type of tough and hard life. And they are not capable enough to face a lot of challenges and competitions and criticism and disturbances which come from outside. These are the reasons why Buddha did not give permission at the beginning and allow them to understand the difficulties they had to undergo. When he said, and if they agree to observe certain conditions, I don't mind giving this permission. Then he said, yes, we are ready. Give us that permission. And these conditions also not discrimination. These conditions that we have introduced for their precaution, for their protection, for their safeguard, to carry on their holy life without facing much difficulty. So they are not discriminated. When you read page 1 called Thero, Songs of the Sisters, what they have uttered, how they have expressed their feelings, the peace, happiness, satisfaction, liberation, freedom in their life after becoming nuns through their renunciation. And all the problems and miseries and worries and responsibilities, disturbances they had earlier, they say no more. Now, we really enjoy, we experience real peace in our life which we never had before. This particular chapter explains there was not a single lady. There were thousands of nuns at that time who wanted to go back. And Buddha did not discriminate. He has given them due credit. That means he appointed certain monks, certain nuns, certain laymen, and certain lady devotees. 4 groups. Monks, nuns, laymen, laywomen. 4 groups. According to their knowledge, ability, skill, intelligence, they were given certain appointments, certain responsibilities. 80 of them in each group. 80 monks, 80 nuns, 80 laymen, 80 laywomen. And they are responsible for certain sections, just like teaching, preaching, and various other duties and obligations and responsibilities. So the women or the nuns were also given similar place, equal place in that community. Another important point is this. Even in the West, we think women are very advanced, but still they are fighting to gain ordination as nuns, to perform, to conduct religious services and prayers. Still they were not given this freedom. And women were not allowed to conduct religious services or prayers in the churches or certain other places of worship. But the Buddha has given this authority, this freedom to ladies to conduct any religious service or preach, explain the Dhamma. There were many occasions where Buddha has preached. When he heard that a particular nun has given this sermon to so and so, then the Buddha says, excellent. This is the way how Buddha has given due credit to women without any discrimination. So, according to these informations, I think you can understand that women's position in Buddhism is unique. The common belief that many people had at that time regarding the mentality of women is this. No woman with two-finger wisdom, that means narrow-mindedness, could ever hope to reach those heights which are attained only by the sages. But after becoming nuns and developing their spiritual progress and attainment of sainthood, the women have answered in this way. When one's mind is well concentrated and wisdom never fails, does the fact of being a woman make any difference? under the influence and dominance of the priestly caste, along with their priestcraft, animal sacrifice and other ritualistic practices, new interpretations were given to the scriptures. Women came to be considered as greatly inferior to men, both physically and mentally. It was in the midst of such extreme social discrimination and degrading attitude towards women that the Buddha made his appearance in India. His teaching on the real nature of life and death, about karma and samskaric wandering, gave rise to considerable changes in the social attitude towards women in his days. The teachings of the Buddha had done a great deal to wipe out many superstitious beliefs and meaningless rites and rituals, including animal sacrifices, from the minds of many people. When the true nature of life and death and the natural phenomena governing the universe were revealed to them, wisdom and understanding arose. This, in turn, helped to arrest and correct the prevailing social injustice and prejudices that were rampant against women in the days of the Buddha, thus enabling women to lead their own way of life. The order of nuns, which truly opened to women a new avenue of culture and social service and ample opportunities for public life. This had brought them to a recognition of their importance to society and greatly enhanced the status of women. The handicap and drawback under which a woman had to undergo in life were also clearly indicated. The suffering and agony to be borne by a woman in leaving her family after her marriage, and the difficulties and problems she had to encounter in trying to accommodate herself in a new environment were the trials and tribulations she had to bear. In addition to these problems, a woman is also subjected to physical pain and suffering during her menstrual period, pregnancy, and childbirth. These are natural phenomena depicting the differential handicaps and circumstances prevailing between a man and a woman. In the days of the Buddha, other religious teachers had also spoken on the duties and obligations of a wife towards her husband, stressing particularly on the duty of a woman or wife bearing an offspring for the husband, rendering faithful service and providing conjugal happiness and heavenly bliss. This view is also shared by Confucianism. However, although the duties of a wife towards the husband were laid down in the Confucianism and some other disciplinary codes and various other religions, it did not stress the duties and obligations of the husband towards the wife. The teachings of the Buddha did not have such bias towards the husband. In the Sikalowada Sutta, the Buddha clearly mentioned the duties of a husband towards the wife and vice versa. Husband should be faithful, courteous, and not despising. It is the husband's duty to hand over authority to his wife and from time to time provide her with adornments. Women under Buddhism had the liberty to lead an independent life and go about their own business. The Buddha, by granting women an active share in the religious life, also helped to raise their status in secular life as well. However, the admissions of women into the order was a step too advanced for the period and became short-lived. Whenever an innovation or improvement was in advance of the thinking and development of people, during a particular era, the people were unable to adapt themselves to the improved conditions and tended to regress back to the society that they were used to. They failed to master the situation. Hostile propaganda by the Brahmins, who found their caste systems undermined and privileges giving way, was also a factor that caused the decline of the order. However, there is one thing that we have to single out: the special characteristic that women are inherited. It is their emotions. No one can deny it. Whether they are educated or not, this intrinsic temperament differentiates woman from the man. When they are stubborn, without using their reasoning, they maintain that stubbornness emotionally. When they are soft-hearted, they accept many things without using their common sense. When they are devout, surrender themselves to any faith or belief or tradition through their emotional devotion without using any investigation. Because of this attitude, they easily become victims to others or some unscrupulous people. This may be the reason why religious authorities were reluctant to give them some responsibilities. Anyway, if they are properly trained and guided, the emotions that they use as weapon or weakness can be overcome.